Hello, once more, and welcome back to my channel back here on YouTube to the NFL prediction videos for week number 18 after a few days off to process the events from Monday night football that happened for the Buffalo Bills and their team and all their fans. It's time to get back into this week 18 and think about actual games coming up this weekend, starting on Saturday. We'll get into that here in a moment, including that Bills and Patriots game coming up on Sunday, and whether I think it's going to be played or about the league overall, what they should do with the game from Monday night that didn't get played. So with that being said, my record was 4-2 though. That was one of the games I predicted last week. So 77-40-1 after going 4-2 with the game that got postponed on my stats for the season. With week 18 coming up, it's time to get into that with the week 18 NFL prediction videos, starting with playoff matchups and implications for this weekend. Let's get started, everyone. Okay, there we go. If we could get the helmet centered, that would be great. Almost centered. That was better. That was better. First matchup on the docket on a Saturday night. This is the second game of the doubleheader. The first game is Kansas City and Las Vegas. As a Chiefs fan, I think the Chiefs will definitely win, but that's not the game I'm predicting this weekend. I'm starting with the Jaguars and Titans, AFC South playoff matchup. Basically, this game's for the division championship. Tennessee at 7-8, at 7-9 coming in, and the Jaguars at 8-8 coming in. A matchup that if you win, you're into the playoffs. If you're the Titans with a losing record at 8-9, if Jaguars, you fall apart. But the Jaguars are a good team this year. Trevor Lawrence, this is the reason they drafted him number one last season. And the Jaguars, 8-8, trying to go get a win under Doug Peterson, who's won a Super Bowl, has been to the Super Bowl, has won as Eagles head coach, knows he needs to get his quarterback on key to do good, and I think the Jaguars, playing at home, will have the advantage against the Titans, and I think the Jaguars will get the win and shock people and win the AFC South and go to the playoffs with Trevor Lawrence as their quarterback. And in year number 2, is he like the next coming of Joe Burrow, who will make it to the playoffs after year 2, in year number 2, and make it to the Super Bowl as AFC champion? We'll have to find out. Joe Burrow did it last year in year number 2. Trevor Lawrence, this is his year for year number 2. We'll see if he can make it to the playoffs and the Super Bowl as a Jaguars quarterback, just like Joe Burrow did for the Bengals last year, coming off an injury. Trevor Lawrence, though, not coming off an injury, but I still think Jaguars get the win on Saturday night. Moving on to our next game, where everyone's going to be focused on this matchup right here on Sunday afternoon in Buffalo, New York, between the Bills and the Patriots. Everyone's going to have their mind on the Bills this weekend for sure. And everyone's mind has been on the Buffalo Bills and the Cincinnati Bengals all week. Most of the Buffalo Bills because Damar Hamlin, who had a heart attack on the field after making a tackle, got up and collapsed right away. This is a game where the Bills, I'm sure their fans are thinking that, okay, it's a game. Does it matter if we win or lose? I'm sure Bills fans thinking it matters about number 1 seed if you're a player, but if you're a fan of a team, if you're a player on the field, you're thinking, okay, it's about our teammate who had a heart attack on the field, and that which happened on Monday Night Football on ESPN, where it was a national audience watching, that set records. It was the most watched Monday Night Football game ever between for fans of people who watched the game broadcast from the time that happened, the injury happened, through until after 10:30 at night, less than 10:30 on Monday night. But this matchup is a game that is going to be interesting to see what happens, how the Bills players are going to react to this matchup. I think the Bills, if they come out and play for their teammate and get a win, they'll definitely be in line to get a number 1 seed. If Kansas City loses and they would be number 1 seed, then the question is, would you still play the Bengals probably this year? Try to make that game up, or what would you do about that game? Depends what happens with the Bengals and Ravens on Sunday as well, I think. But I think the Bills can come out and get a win in this matchup, and I hope they do. I think everyone's going to be cheering for Buffalo this weekend to be the team that wins. But if you're a player on the team for the Bills, you're probably thinking it doesn't really matter about winning or losing right now. It's about playing for our teammate that had a heart attack on the field on Monday night. But I think the Bills will get the win because they're going to be playing for their teammate and trying to get a win, and I think they get the win on Sunday afternoon. Coming up, next matchup, Pittsburgh, Kenny Pickett and the Steelers, Cleveland Browns, and Deshaun Watson. And two teams, Pittsburgh Steelers 8-8. If they get a win, they'll be 9-8. They'll have a winning season for like a 17th straight year. Haven't had a losing season since 2003 or 2004, something like that. And another story is Deshaun Watson and the Cleveland Browns. Since he's become starter, the Browns have been good this year. They're 7-8, 7-9 or something, 7-9. I'll tell you this: the Cleveland Browns, even if they get a win, they did better than what they had last year when Baker Mayfield was the quarterback, who's now with the Rams. And Baker Mayfield, we'll talk about him shortly. But the Browns did a better job this year than they did last year in 17 games. And the year before that, they made the playoffs with Baker Mayfield starting quarterback, and they got rid of him after last year. Not doing good in 17 games, and you just goes to tell you that the Browns look like their team. They're making their comeback stride, but they still need to get some things right to do that this offseason, I think. And I'm going to say this. I think the Pittsburgh Steelers definitely get the win this weekend on Sunday because I think Kenny Pickett and the Steelers, young quarterback Kenny Pickett, he's going to try to deliver the Steelers a winning record. I think he gets that done on Sunday. So I'm going with the Steelers in this matchup. Next matchup. In Philly, between the Eagles and the Giants. Question is Jalen Hurts playing? Question is, are the Eagles going to be playing for the number one seed? They currently have the half-game lead over the Vikings. If they get a win, if the Eagles get a win, I know this, they'll be the number one seed automatically. If they lose to the Giants, they'll be the number two going into that wild card weekend, which will be interesting to see what happens. I think the Eagles are a pretty good team. Their weapons, two losses this season. Only 2 losses this year. Pretty interesting to see from the Eagles' standpoint. And the Giants, their playoff team this year is a wild card team already. So both teams are playoff teams already. I think both teams are going to be playing for what matters most, better seeding. The Eagles are playing for number 1 seed. The Giants are trying to play to keep that number 6 seed, which they already got that number 6 seed already so far going into this weekend. But the Eagles, it's going to be interesting to see. I think the Giants will do a good job, but I think playing in Philadelphia, the Eagles have a better record at home, and I think the Eagles get the win on Sunday. Moving on to another game in the NFC East as well, between the Washington Commanders, Dallas Cowboys, and Dak Prescott trying to fight to keep it going, their season alive, and get another win. The Washington Commanders, they lost the division, lost the last week with a loss against a team that they should have not lost to. Yeah, seriously. Surprise, surprise. They lost to a team they should have not lost to. But I think the Cowboys coming in, this is the one game I think there's going to be a road team that gets a win this week, and that's with the Dallas Cowboys. I think the Cowboys will get the win on the road in Washington against the Washington Commanders on Sunday, only because the Cowboys, they know where they want to go. They want to be the top spot in the wild card, and they're going to be playing the number 4 seeded team as a number 5 seed, which will definitely be Tampa Bay Buccaneers and Tom Brady. They'll have to go to Tampa. And this is they're going to have to go on the road. This is the start for the Cowboys, going on the road for the playoffs and winning all the games on the road to make it to the Super Bowl. Do I think they make the Super Bowl? Probably not. But I think the Cowboys get the win this week in Week 18, though. Moving on to the next matchup. Playoff implications down the line. Seattle Seahawks and Geno Smith against the Rams and Baker Mayfield. Now, the Rams were the storyline coming into this year. Way back when, all the way. Way back when, all the way. And I'll tell you why. I'll tell you this. I'll tell you this from way back when. I'm talking about my playoff predictions. From way back when, earlier this year. Real quick. If I can just get into it. I just need to find the page I was on. Find the page I put it on. Okay. Almost there. Almost ready. And I'll tell you this. for an NFC this year, or way back when, I predicted the Rams as the defending champions would be the number 1 seed. I said Tampa Bay would be number 2. I said Green Bay would be number 3. And truthfully, the Buccaneers are going to be number 4. Eagles are going to be number 1. Dallas is going to be the number 5, where I had them at the moment. And of course, the Rams, not in it. Seattle, I didn't even have them in it at all. But they can be the number 7 seed if Green Bay and Detroit end up tied. But the Rams, they were my number 1 seed going into the year. Even with Tampa Bay and Green Bay as number 2 and 3 seeds. And that's not going to happen, of course. So, I'll just say this right now. The Rams I thought would be number 1 seed. They didn't make it to the playoffs this year. The Super Bowl hangover, I guess. I guess I make a prediction as a team, defending champions would be the number 1 seed, which might happen. And that didn't happen. And now, we're talking about Seattle. I think Seattle gets to win at home with Geno Smith because the Seahawks are a team that's going to outperform the Rams. And the Seahawks are going to win. They'll be the 9th one of the year, be 9-8. They just need Green Bay and Detroit to end up in a tie. So I'm doing the Seahawks over the Rams, the defending champions, in Week 18. The Rams had a Super Bowl hangover that killed them this year. These 4 starting quarterbacks, well, 3 quarterbacks got hurt. The other one, who knows what happens. So I'm going with the Seahawks on Sunday. Moving on to the Sunday night game. Yes, one that everyone talks about. That could be the number 7 seed at the moment. Green Bay or Detroit. Seattle, we know this. They need a tie for this. The Seattle Seahawks fans are going to be cheering for a tie. For Detroit, you want to win to go 9-8 to be the 7th seed. For the Green Bay Packers, you want to win. Packers fans, you want to win as well to go 9-8 and be the wild card spot in the NFC this year as the number 7 seed. Even though I said they would be the number 3 this year, I was so wrong on that. I think I got my number 2 and 4 seeds. The Eagles. I predicted the Eagles and Buccaneers is 2 and 4. That I know that's going to be flip flop in some way format. But this matchup, Aaron Rodgers again looking to win his 4th straight game to try to make it as a number 7 seed. And I think this matchup's going to be one that's going to go down to the wire. But the Lions, last time they gave to Green Bay, they got to win, I think. The Packers and Aaron Rodgers, they definitely need to get a win. I think the Packers can get the win. They have a better team, better defense than the Lions. Lions, though, got the number one pick last year, and they might make the playoffs as a number 7 seed. I think this game's going to come down to the wire and come down to whoever has the ball last. I think the Packers win by a field goal at the last second. So I'm picking Green Bay to win in Week 18 there on Sunday night. Which is me an interesting game to watch. With that being said, real quick, I have my Week 18 recap. Week 18. Well, let's go back quickly through who I think is going to win. Starting in Jacksonville on Saturday night between the Titans and Jaguars. I think Trevor Lawrence and Jaguars get the win and win the AFC South. In Buffalo between the Patriots and Bills on Sunday, I think the Bills will get the win for Damar Hamlin, their teammate, who suffered a heart attack on Monday Night Football just 3 days ago. And I think the Bills get the win there. And in Pittsburgh, I think Kenny Pickett delivers the Steelers their 9th win in a winning season at 9-8 over the Browns. In Philadelphia, I'm taking the Eagles over the Giants. Sorry about that, I filled my pen up in there. And in Washington, between the Commanders and Cowboys, I'm taking Dak Prescott of the Cowboys as the number 5 seed. Take them on the road and get a win going into the wild card weekend next week at least. And in Seattle, I think the Seahawks and Geno Smith get their 9th win of the year, barely making it to the playoff, potentially making it to the playoffs over the defending champion Rams, who I predicted as the number 1 seed way back when. And in Green Bay on Sunday night, I'm taking the Packers and Aaron Rodgers by a field goal in the last second over Detroit. And with that being said, that's my Week 18 review, who I'm picking to win this week. Comment below who your favorite team's picking, who your favorite team's playing, and if you think they're going to win. And also comment below and tell me what you think about the Bills-Patriots game, who's going to win that, and Buffalo playing for Damar Hamlin, their teammate, this weekend. I definitely think they're going to get the win. What do you think about the Bills getting the win, guys? Everyone. So with that being said, that's been your Week 18 review, and I hope everyone enjoys. That being said, please remember to watch, like, and subscribe. Don't forget to tell your friends to do the same if they're not done so yet already. And also, hit that notification button below so you know when I upload a new video. And with that being said, I will see you right back here. Hopefully next Thursday. We'll be talking about wildcard rounds, 6 games next week on Thursday. For the playoffs, all of the playoff prediction videos will be on Thursday for the playoffs this season. Again, just like last year. And after I didn't do a video Tuesday because of what happened on Monday night, I wanted to do the video today. A few days later. Better than nothing. So with that being said, have a nice day, stay safe. And I'll see you next Thursday, hopefully, with wildcard round predictions. Have a nice day, stay safe, and peace out, everyone. And bye for now. Bye, everyone.